Thunder rolls across the Northumberland moors, and you feel the car tremble as the wrought iron gates of Blackwood Manor groan open. You're here to witness an exclusive weekend gathering hosted by Alistair Finch, the elusive tech tycoon, whose fortune is matched only by his ability to vanish from the spotlight. Inside fireplaces hiss, chandeliers sway, and every portrait seems to track your steps. You think you're just a guest, yet a mystery is already sharpening its claws. You've barely hung your coat when Finch beckons everyone into the grand hall. He raises a glass, smiles a smile that never reaches his eyes, and promises an evening of puzzles and pleasant rivalry. You clock the faces around you. Cassandra Vale, the icy art dealer with gloves that stay on even indoors. Dr. Rowan Pike, the forensic psychologist who quotes Latin aphorisms instead of small talk. Hugo Thorne, the ex-Royal Navy engineer who polishes his monocle like a habit. And Lyra Finch, Alistair's estranged niece, whose charity for endangered bats hides a far sharper edge. 5 distinct personalities, 5 possible motives you can practically taste. Night deepens. The storm shreds the phone lines. The last bar of cell signal winks out. And somewhere in the darkness, a grandfather clock begins its relentless toll toward midnight. Then, a gunshot. Or was it the clap of thunder? Either way, you sprint with the others toward the source. Finch's study. The oak door is locked from the inside, the key still in the deadbolt. Lyra's voice cracks as she calls her uncle's name. No answer. Dr. Pike suggests breaking the stained glass window pane. Thorne obliges with a single, brutal shoulder. You clamber through shards. Alistair Finch is slumped across his antique desk, a medieval manuscript beneath his lifeless hand, and a silver pistol on the carpet. A locked room death, textbook perfect, perhaps too perfect. Enter Inspector Marcel Devane, the very detective whose calm gallantry has sold out lecture halls from Paris to Prague. He just happened to be nearby for the regatta, or so he claims. Devane tightens his tie, surveys the scene, and turns toward you. Care to join the hunt? He whispers, as if the two of you share a secret. How can you refuse? Devane's first move is theatrical but brilliant. He gathers everyone in the library and hands you the master key ring. You, my outside eyes, will challenge every alibi I receive, he says. Already you feel the puzzle pieces clicking. Cast and alibis. That is your opening scorecard. Cassandra swears she was in the music room, practicing Chopin for the planned soiree, yet not a single candle in that room is melted. Was she ever there? Dr. Pike claims to have been cataloguing Finch's rare insect collection. And yes, a pinned atlas moth rests on the table. But the cabinet glass bears no fingerprints. Thorne insists he was restoring power in the cellar. Oddly, the generator was humming perfectly when Devane checked it. And Lyra, she says she was reading poetry in the conservatory, though her boots are mud-splattered from the outside terrace. 4 stories, 4 loose threads. Which one will you tug first? Before you start, Devane draws attention to the manuscript Finch died protecting. The parchment is cracked with age, and across the margins is a latticework of symbols, circles within circles, tiny arrows kissing unfamiliar letters. A cipher, Devane announces, supposedly penned by a 14th century monk who believed hidden music could heal the plague-stricken. Finch purchased it at auction last year, prompting rumours of a secret code that maps to buried patents worth billions. No wonder people are twitching. Devane gives you and the listeners a nudge. The key is in plain sight. You scan the study. Above the fireplace hangs Finch's coat of arms, a stag, 5 stars, and a motto in Middle English. The same stars appear sporadically in the margins of the manuscript. Coincidence? Your mind races. Could the stag represent the letter S? The stars repeat as E? You jot possibilities, heart thumping. Yet Devane refuses to let you linger. He prefers motion, momentum, misdirection. He proposes private interviews and instructs you to watch for tells. The storm outside drums a metronome as you move from room to room. First up, Cassandra Vale. She offers tea so fragrant it masks the scent of turpentine clinging to her sleeves. She says Finch promised to fund her new gallery, then reneged. Why should she kill the golden goose? You ask about Chopin. She frowns, hums a bar of the Minute Waltz, and stumbles over the closing notes. Real musicians rarely forget exit phrases. A warning light flickers in your brain. Next, Hugo Thorne. In the map room, he cleans a brass sextant with obsessive care. He admits Finch recruited him to design a tidal power plant, then shelved the project. Thorne's pride is wounded, but murder? He shrugs. Still, you notice flecks of grime on his cuffs. Not grease, but something chalky, off-white. Could it be plaster from the study wall recently drilled to hide wires? File that away. Dr. Rowan Pike greets you in the parlor, quoting Seneca. Fire tests gold, adversity tests men. He had little affection for Finch, whom he diagnosed unofficially as a narcissist. Pike couldn't abide narcissists. You recall the untouched insect case. Pike's fingers are pristine, yet a faint scent of lemon polish lingers. Maybe he wore gloves. Maybe he didn't handle the glass at all. Your doubts balloon. Finally, Lyra Finch. She stands by a rain-lashed window, speaking softly of her uncle's controlling nature. He refused to release her trust fund unless she abandoned her conservation work. She pleads innocence, and tears feel genuine. But your eyes dart to the mud on her boots. She claims she stepped outside for fresh air when the argument grew heated. Possible, but timing matters. Devane gathers everyone again and invites the household staff, minus the butler who took ill earlier. Red herring number 1. The butler's sickness appears genuine. Records show he visited the village clinic that afternoon. Still, Devane lets suspicion dangle just long enough to cast a chill. Now the cipher calls. You and Devane spread the manuscript on a lightbox. The stars, arrows, and letters form a repeating loop, every 13 symbols. Devane muses aloud. 13, the number of hours on this manor's ancient clock. You adjust the light, and faint indigo lines bloom, forming the shape of a stag across the text, just like the coat of arms. A hidden steganographic overlay. Devane hands you a mirror. When tilted, the stars align to spell one true north in Latin. Hugo Thorne's specialty is navigation. A neat pointer, or is it the next red herring? You confront Thorne, who laughs, saying Finch loved nautical metaphors and probably planted the message for him to discover. He even wrote a proprietary algorithm called True North, supposedly worthless after a recent patent battle. The clue loops back, but offers no closure. Hours slip by, candles gutter. Somewhere a pipe whistles like distant applause. You feel the fatigue in your shoulders. Yet the image of Finch's gloved hand splayed on that manuscript won't release you. Why was he wearing gloves indoors? Could he have staged his own death? Devane only smiles when you ask, then moves on. Rhetorical question time. What detail would a killer ignore but an innocent man preserve? The answer materializes when Devane revisits the locked door. The key was still in the deadbolt, true. But which side showed where? You examine it closely. Scratch marks run along the outer edge, not the inner. Someone locked the study from the hallway, pushed the key through with a thin tool, and used the antique dumbwaiter to retrieve it inside, creating the illusion Finch had barred himself in. Who owned a tool slim and strong enough? Cassandra's art knives fit, as do Thorne's sailor awls. Yet another observation steers you elsewhere. The manuscript reeks faintly of lemon polish, the same aroma that clung to Dr. Pike. You inhale closer. Lemon neutralizes oil, protecting parchment from fingerprints. A psychologist would know how to hide a touch. Devane calls for a final tableau in the dining room. Rain hammers the stained glass. Lightning backlights the suspects. He addresses them, but truly, he's addressing you and everyone listening. Consider motive, he begins, voice smooth as velvet. Finch was about to expose someone. The cipher, decrypted, wasn't a treasure map. It was a confession disguised as art. Finch planned to announce tonight that his deathbed philanthropic pledge would exclude anyone engaged in unethical research. Dr. Pike's career was at stake. His experimental therapy used unlicensed neural stimulants, funded quietly by Finch, until legal concerns mounted. Finch pulled the plug. Pike panicked. But opportunity. Devane turns to the study door. Pike volunteered earlier to find smelling salts for Lyra, giving him a window to slip back, lock the door from the hall, push the key through, and loop around via the service corridor only staff remembered. The silver pistol held blanks. The real cause was a poisoned dart tipped with curare, projected from a hollow pen found in Pike's pocket, cleverly disguised as a stylus he always carried. Finch's gloves hid the injection site. Lemon polish masked residue. The gunshot, synchronized with thunder, served as theatre. Devane pauses, letting the silence invite your verdict. Can you see the chain now? The audience leans in, breath held. Pike tries to retort with more Latin, but words die on his tongue when Devane reveals the pen, now bagged as evidence. Thorne exhales, Cassandra gasps. Lyra weeps anew, this time in relief rather than grief. The case is solved, but your pulse still drums from the chase. Devane escorts Pike away, yet returns to you for the epilogue. He congratulates your keenness, offers a wry smile, and presents a final twist. The cipher's last line, once fully read, is not accusation but benediction. May the seeker of true north never lose the compass of conscience. Finch's dying wish, perhaps, that justice prevails. So what do you carry away from Blackwood Manor? Maybe it's the thrill of matching wits with darkness. Maybe it's the reminder that the tiniest scent, the faintest scratch, can upend the grandest deception. Or maybe, as Devane suggests while tipping his hat, it's the knowledge that every locked room is simply a mind unclasped. You step outside at dawn. The storm has passed. The moor breathes mist. Overhead, ravens trace silent arcs. You realize the real cipher was never on parchment. It was written in human frailty, decoded by curiosity and courage. Keep those tools handy, because who knows which manor gate you'll cross next. Take that with you, and until our paths meet again, stay sharp, question twice, and remember, true north is never found on maps, only in the steadfast rhythm of your heartbeat